Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is the Wonder Kid here. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. A warm welcome to another one of my videos. I hope you've been enjoying my content so far. Guys, we're going to go straight into it. As you saw from the title in this video, I'll be discussing what is it like from moving from price action into the SMC world, okay? Now, for those of you that don't know, my current price action strategy, the one that I still trade, is to do with, for example, breaking highs and lows, right? So essentially, for the price action strategy I'm trading, I'm analyzing momentum in the form of the size of candles. I'm only trading on using one time frame, which is the hourly time frame. I'm trying to understand the size of wicks. I'm just trying to understand how the candles are moving collectively. All in all, a very, very micro perspective of price, okay? We're looking at the micro perspective of the 1 hour time frame and trying to anticipate what is going to happen next and look for the entries based on forecasts and drawings, okay? So now my mind has always been, well, very accustomed to that because of course I've been working hard and backtesting a lot with the price action strategy. Like I said, it's a lot to do with momentum, which is to do with sizes of candles, sizes of breaks of levels, the sizes of wicks, what they say, but also what do we look for entries when it comes to actually drawing and forecasting certain patterns, right? Now, moving to the SMC world, and I hope that this is helpful for anyone that is considering looking to go into SMC, especially from a price action strategy. It can seem overwhelming, especially if you have come from that kind of background. Like I say, when you're trading one time frame and it is simply to do with looking for patterns on the chart, okay? The SMC world is very, very different. And at first, in all honesty, it seems like there are a bunch of boxes, different colored boxes, usually pink and blue, or different shades of pink and blue, which are denote supply and demand zones. It can seem pretty overwhelming. It's like, what is this? What are all these drawings? What is BOS? What is or BMS? What is FTC? What are all these names and what is everything? What is happening, right? Now, I've got to admit, like at the very beginning, you basically see a bunch of boxes and it can seem, like I said, very, very overwhelming. What is everything? How do you piece it together, okay? But slowly over time, like with all things, it all slowly begins to fall in place and slowly begins to make sense, okay? So that's how I felt at the very beginning. So that's how you probably will feel coming into the SMC world. Like, what is this? Everyone's SMC chart looks very complicated. Everyone is trading or executing in different kind of lower time frames, but it does start to make sense as you persevere through it. Now, one of the biggest things, and like I said, even through this video, guys, feel free to agree or disagree with me. If you do agree or if you do disagree, feel free to write it down in the comment section below. I'm happy to talk to you or listen to your suggestion. But what I've understood, one of the key things that I've heard, especially from moving into the SMC world, is be careful of all the losses, or, oh, SMC guys take a lot of losses. Oh, they use a very, very low pip stop loss, like 2 pips, 3 pips, etc., etc. Okay. Now, I've personally seen this firsthand from the individual that I'm learning off, that even if you do have a small pip stop loss, it can still work out, okay? So say, for example, if you're trading Euro US dollar and you have a raw spread account, right? Or a raw ECN account, whatever you want to call it, typically the spreads are around 0.2 pips, right? But if you know exactly what you're doing in the SMC world, you can, of course, not only know exactly when to enter and have those kind of tighter stop losses relative to a price action strategy, where of course you can have a much larger stop loss, but also at the same time, not only do you know where to enter, but you know why you are entering in that area, okay? So one of the things is that I've come into the SMC world understanding that in order to negate or get rid of a lot of losses at the very basis or fundamental level is to understand market structure, okay? Now, this is another thing, is that even considering coming from a price action strategy where you're trading one time frame or you're only on one time frame, like I said, for me, it was the hourly time frame, to SMC when you're trading a bunch of, well, you're actually looking at market structure from the highest time frame and zooming in, it can seem overwhelming at first. People will also think, oh, well, you can create a bias on one time frame, but on the other time frame, it can say a completely different thing. But that's not true, because in SMC, you're understanding something called, or something I call fractality, but essentially the fractal nature of the markets, okay? So what are you doing in an SMC? Well, ultimately, you're mapping structure from the very high time frames, and then you're going down in the time frames to understand and basically form the picture and see how you're going to enter based on imbalances and mitigating areas, okay? So of course, that might seem like some fancy words to some price action traders or non-SMC guys. But again, it all starts to make sense. But like I said, one of the key things is that it will at the very beginning seem like a bunch of interesting colored boxes and lines, but it's slowly, as you piece it together, it makes sense. Essentially what you're doing is that you're analyzing market structure from the higher time frames, and you're actually building the picture as you go into the lower time frames, and then executing either in the minutes, in the time frame of minutes, for example the 1 minute, or even going lower into the seconds. Okay, and I guarantee you it's not as overwhelming as it sounds. Okay, I promise you that. I've seen it. Some people that I know also have very good strike rates, very high strike rates. So ultimately it becomes, again, it's another skill. If you're coming from a price action strategy where you're technically very good and sound, and you're moving to SMC, again, it's like learning to drive, from learning to drive a car to learning to drive a lorry, for example. It's a different set altogether. You're going to have to learn a different skill set. You're going to have to understand the technicalities of it a little bit, well, much more. It's a lot more in depth. It takes a lot more work, but also I would say that not only the technical nature is important, but understanding the psychology part of it. Even if you are trading coming from the hourly time frame and trading on the lower time frames, you're going to typically be taking a lot more trades in the day. So how do you manage that? Is there something in your trade plan that you can do better? Can you journal better? So this is one of the things, or one of the stages that I'm at. I'm personally currently at the point of forming a trade plan and back testing it and forward testing it and seeing how we go. Now, one of the reasons what I personally felt is that when you come into the SMC world, and for example, if you're executing on the minute time frames or even the seconds time frames, which I know is only accessible to TradingView Premium as far as I know, then you can only go back a certain time point. So that's why back testing and forward testing is important. Okay, but another thing that I do want to make you guys aware of, and this is something that I started to learn personally, is that even if you are trading from price action strategy, you can trade from your phone very easily. You can open certain apps, you can calculate your lot sizes. You can also do this in many different ways, but ultimately you calculate the lot sizes, you can trade from your phone and execute on there. But because of the way that you're trading in SMC, that the executions and the setups have to be quite or relatively faster to that, then what you have to do is typically trade off the computer, or at the very least an iPad or an interface whereby you can actually have some sort of lines, or like I say, well, what it is actually is an EA, a trade assistant, right? I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Essentially, some sort of system in place that helps you to set up a trade and execute a lot faster, okay? So that's another thing that I've learned. So, so far, all these things I've learned in this journey from learning price action to SMC, number one, it seems overwhelming at first, but it really isn't once you put the effort in and start to understand what is the crux of it. And if you persevere, then all the things start to make sense. Number two, it's definitely, again, it's another skill. It's like learning another skill. You can transfer skills from price action to SMC, but the other skills, the other big part of learning that skill is that it is a whole different strategy. So learning that strategy and becoming technically proficient in it is a skill in itself. So of course that takes time. Even if you're a profitable trader beforehand, trading it, like I said, price action strategy, and you're coming into SMC, yes, you can have the right mindset, but also, like I said, because it's a new strategy, you got to become better at it. But also, like I say, the way that you execute is a lot different. And I can definitely see people doing it. Like I know I've made friends with quite a few good SMC traders. I can see the trades they're taking. I can see why. And ultimately, it's all about stacking confluences, okay? So I'm going to throw some fancy words out there to you guys, but liquidity, inducement, interaction, supply and demand flips, chocks. Now this all sounds like, again, to price action traders, all just what is that? But again, it all makes sense. And once you actually know how to use those together and you stack confluences, then of course you can actually have a very high probability trade and setup. And ultimately that is what SMC is, or as far as I have known so far, that is what it is, okay? Now, before I end this video, one of the things I wanted to touch upon, and I know some people will be asking, oh, why have I looked into SMC from price action? Why have I come into the SMC world? Well, number one is because for me personally, like I'm also very fortunate to also have the time in the day. If not, I would always try and find a way to make time anyway, but to actually learn something new, learn a new skill. I know that people are making money in the day, intraday, taking a few trades, possibly even during sessions like London session or New York session, and calling it a day. So of course, that is something I want to learn. If people are out there doing that, then that is something that I want to be a part of and know. Is there anything in SMC world that I can actually learn, pick up, trade? Of course, can I trade that strategy? Can I actually merge it with price action? What can I do with it to actually become even more profitable, right? How do I get my edge sharper? How do I become a better trader? So number one, it's learning more. I have the time to do it. I'm happy to actually change the way I trade rather than checking at the top of every hour. I'm happy to actually move into trading certain sessions, maybe 2 sessions a day at the beginning, maybe honing that down to 1 session, like the London session, for example. Again, time will tell with that. But also, I want to leave you guys with this because this is very interesting. And it's also another reason why I was looking into SMC is because for those of you that know or have looked back into my channel and seen my old videos, you would have noticed that I've done a My Forex Funds stats video, okay? And I will link it down in the description below if you guys haven't watched it. But one of the things is that for My Forex Funds, number one, they kindly actually release the statistics of their traders. But if you guys actually read the stats, they actually show you guys what the most profitable traders are doing. So I do remember this correctly, right? Only 5 traders part of My Forex Funds at that point of time of the release of the blog were on their 8th payout, right? So they've reached their most, well, the 8th payout. They've been the top 5 traders and have been consistent over at least 8 payouts, right? So that was at the time that it was released. But also, I'm going to actually tell you some stats of these most profitable traders, okay? Which is right in front of me now. So number one, each of these profitable traders risked less than 3% per day. They were in the market for less than 4 hours a day. They don't hold trades overnight. 60% of traders lose accounts if they hold trades over the weekend. So again, suggesting that, again, it's more weighted of the people that actually hold trades over the weekend. It's more likely you will lose your account. Okay, interesting. Again, 60%. It's not like 90%, but it is still on the majority side. No more was risked than 2% per day. So only a maximum of 2% per day was risked for trades. And these guys who are most profitable stopped trading once the 4 to 8% profit target was reached until their next pay cycle, right? So if you think about it, these guys that are top profitable traders with their prop firms are intraday traders. They're trading sessions in the market, like I said, for less than 4 hours per day. So they're not risking more than 2% a day. So that's very, very good. Maybe, if they're risking, for example, 0.5% after 4 losses, they'll call it a day. I know that could be quite a lot for SMC guys. I don't know. But also they stop trading once they've reached a certain percentage profit. It's kind of as if they trade sessions, they make their money, they hit a certain profit target, and then they just call it how it is till the next profit cycle, right? Now, to me personally, these kind of stats line up with SMC guys at the very least. If it lines up with any other strategy or other trading styles, guys, please feel free to let me know. But so far, I've understood that SMC does work along these lines. So could it be that the most profitable traders in these prop firms are actually from the SMC world? Are they trading SMC strategy? Because clearly with the prop firms, or at least My Forex Funds and what they've kindly released, they've said that at least these kind of statistics lines up with the SMC strategies and the SMC traders. So, again, that's another interesting thing. So if the most profitable traders at these prop firms are doing X, Y, Z, then I also want to be learning to do X, Y, Z, right? You want to be in that category of the most profitable traders at prop firms. So what are they doing? So like I said, SMC lines up with that. Again, that's another reason why I'm interested in learning SMC, okay? But like I said, so far, for me, it's very, very interesting. It is a lot more technical than price action. It does require a lot more perseverance if you're coming from any other strategy. It does require learning things, like I said earlier, Trade Assistant, actually downloading MT4 for your Mac or your Windows, which is interesting. And funnily enough, I know a lot of you traders will laugh out there, but I didn't do beforehand. I've never done it because why? I've always learned how to just execute straight off my phone because I've only been trading at a 1 hour time frame. But there you have it, guys. That is my kind of quick little video on moving from price action strategy to SMC. So like I said, guys, in this video, you could have agreed with a lot of it. You could have disagreed, but like I say, I would love to hear your comments on your thoughts on what I've said in this video. Guys, please feel free to write it down in the comment section below. But for now, I genuinely hope you all have a fantastic trading week. Take care and peace.